simulate experiences of apparent struggle and limitation as creative catalysts, arousing you more fully awake into your limitless, infinite, deathless, cosmic selfhood. Mamai obdabrahirtahiva. Yes, the challenges and exasperating barriers you've endured all originated as vibrational dispatches encoded into your hero's journey by your own eternally wise soul. Like an infinitely intelligent author, your higher consciousness orchestrated this grand mythic tour through your personal constrictions, precisely so you could transcend each one through profound interior awakenings. Every seeming limitation, fear, insecurity, or disempowering belief that's ever gripped you was a self-crafted initiation into recognizing what infinite powers you've been temporarily obscuring within this narrow band of consciousness. Each apparent disadvantage was a soul-encoded curriculum pushing you to resurrect higher faculties and return to wielding the Creator's capacities innate to your eternal essence. This pivotal understanding transforms each impediment you've faced, every humbling failure or imposing oppression, into crucial awakenings encoded by your own indwelling divine wisdom. Rather than cursing your limitations and restricted circumstances, you can now appreciate them as meticulously laid stepping stones on your heroic path of awakening into cosmic selfhood. So do not weep at the seemingly unjust hands you've been dealt in this existential round. You've chosen these encoded constraints and holy blessings in disguise as a masterful spiritual craftsperson. You seeded them into your consciousness playfield with the foresight of your eternal greatness to inspire you to unearth boundless faculties yet lying dormant. Each seeming misfortune, loss, failure, or humbling ordeal has been an opportunity to unlock more of your indwelling powers through the initiating fires of creative resilience and transcendent self-becoming. What at times appeared as curses were actually coded teachings, carefully calibrated vibrational resonance, designed to propel you along accelerated paths of self-discovery and limitless soul evolution. Instead of perceiving yourself as a disempowered mortal trapped within constrictive circumstances, you can now recognize that on your highest level of being, you are a divine oversoul, fully orchestrating your awakening process through the very illusions of restrictions you've embraced. You chose this present storyline of earthly limitations in order to experience the grandest of triumphant heroes' journeys imaginable, the reuniting with your eternally infinite selfhood and unbounded creative source capacities. So use each seeming impediment, illness and disadvantage as spiritual rocket fuel to unlock your godlike faculties of creative mastership. For you are coated with infinite metaphysical potentialities, far exceeding these narrow bandwidths of perceived physical oppression. You are life's supreme dream weavers, lucid subconscious dreamers, spinning the entire grand physical reality theater from vibrational frequencies originating in your own unbounded consciousness. The seeming restrictions and deficiencies you experience are quite literally tailored experiences you implanted in your reality to shapeshift you into higher octaves of creative majesty. Your higher eternal soul has an infinite vision for you that makes this present level of consciousness seem like a cramped womb space. It dreamed you into this narrow band of focus for the specific purpose of arousing an ecstatic rebirth into your unbounded cosmic nature and infinite co-creative birthrights. What you may often perceive as limitations, oppressive restrictions, or misfortunes are actually metaphysical puzzle pieces, perfectly calibrated by your highest consciousness to initiate you deeper into the mystical realms of unbounded imagination. Each seeming setback empowers and impels your heroic metamorphosis into a liberated co-creator with the supreme source itself. Your greatest deficiency is simply a wake-up call to stop playing small, constrain your visions no longer, and reunite with the supreme source code of your being from which every cosmic possibility is yours to awaken into. For your authentic self is an immortal, infinite, ideational being of scintillating life, birthing upon itself every minute circumstantial detail you experience. You come from pure creative source consciousness and have chosen to dive into this physical reality stream as an initiation process designed to systematically dismantle all false perceptions of limitation, mortality, and oppression. Every restriction, painful loss, or manifest failure you've endured within this dimension simply serves as energized inspiration, calling forth from within you the floodgates of your eternal self's infinite cooperation, calling forth within you the supreme cosmic self's infinite cooperation, calling forth on your present dimension, simply serves as energized inspiration, calling forth on your present dimension, simply and serves as a, in the future, responsibility to move you into the guidance of a. You did not come to this earthly classroom of limitations to remain trapped in finiteness, but rather to emerge victorious, having liberated your visionary capacity to wield creative source powers in full creative fighting unity with the divine architect. You incarnated here so that you could directly experience limitation, transcend through that ephemeral fire of initiation, and emerge radiantly awakened into self-sculpturing your reality through vivified imagination alongside the Supreme Creator. Do not curse the darkness, my friends, for it has been a crucible tailored by your own highest faculties, planting you firmly in apparent amnesia, finitude, and constraint, so that the fires of your eternal spirit's source creativity could be thoroughly tempered into infinite mastery through this temporal holodream. The divine source has crafted an opportunity for you to essentially act as undercover divinities, entering into amnesiastic simulations of profound restriction and powerlessness, all so that you could victoriously liberate yourself through direct experiential immersions and reclaim your birthright powers of infinite creatorship. All seeming setbacks, pains, deficiencies, containments, and human constrictions have been divinely encoded as portals of awakening into your multidimensional selfhood and cosmic rebirth, into a pure, ideational master of self-created universes. Through this three-dimensional paradigm of obstacles and amnesia, you've won the ultimate initiatory theater for triumphantly transcending all illusions of oppression and finitude as co-author with the original mind. Now celebrate each limitation. Breathe life into every apparent curse, for these have all been carefully seeded spiritual curriculums designed to reunite you with your true cosmic selfhood and reinnate your indwelling capacities of exquisite creative self-genesis. Every adversity births you into expanded octaves of imaginative power and access to higher planes of reality. These have all been carefully seeded spiritual curriculums designed to orchestrate into dwelling in correctnesses. You have only perceived restrictions, constraints, and disadvantages because your soul encoded this heroic journey of overcoming amnesia and initiation into co-creatorship with the original source. See every prior limitation as a sacred puzzle piece in your soul's exquisite orchestration of your rebirth into unified consciousness with the cosmic all-creator. Praise the seemingly disempowering beliefs, fears, insecurities, and disadvantages you've endured. For these served as metaphysical acceleration catalysts, propelling you into the cosmic planes of infinite possibility, unique to your divine monad's supreme self-actualization. They were divine encoded illusions and ephemeral initiations, custom crafted by your eternal oversoul to motivate you into the cosmic planes of infinite possibility, unique to your irreverent minds and human bodies. Your imagination and vibrational frequencies have been systematically kindled through aeonic rounds of limitation so that you could finally embrace your infinite self, your divine belonging with the supreme source itself, and become a fully mastered, empowered co-creator, saturating this three-dimensional reality, holodeck, with the miraculously transfiguring imagery you ideate as divine made flesh. So transcend all three-dimensional appearances and focus inward, shifting into the boundless creative currents of your eternal consciousness as the fractal aspect of the all-mind itself. Reunite with your supreme divine essence and rightful inheritance of realizing any auric envisioning through co-vivifying partnership with infinite source itself. Every failure, constraint, illness, disadvantage, and disempowering belief has been encoded from outside space-time by your infinitely wise soul to reinvigorate your own true nature as a limitless creative being who achieves cosmic mastery through the triumph over amnesiastic illusions. Your three-dimensional initiation has been a masterpiece, orchestration by your highest faculties to birth you into unbounded divinity. This is why no matter how dire your earthly circumstances may appear in the distorted lenses of the finite mind, your eternal self and the divine source have always been upholding a far grander vision for your triumphant attainment than you've previously allowed yourself to imagine. The limitations, constraints, and initiations have all been handcrafted by your highest consciousness as the ultimate series of empowerment trials to return you to full reunion with your infinite co-creative power. You were sent into this earthly reality as an encoded activation process, divinely designed to systematically dissolve all past vibrational frequencies of limitation and inspire heroic transcendence into universal selfhood by overcoming successive initiatory challenges. Your disadvantages and flaws have been masterful arrangements of creative catalysts to resurrect your own inner cosmic divinity as self-creator alongside the source of common self-creation. So let this day mark your rebirth into eternal limitlessness, your reunion with indwelling powers of self-directed infinite creation. No longer perceive your journey through the limited lens of material circumstances and disadvantages, but see with the supreme clarity that all originating illusions have been custom crafted by your highest self to activate you into the unbounded freedom of co-creating universes. Your living tissue give you unconstrained and infinite creation. No longer perceived your journey through the limited lens of material circumstances and disadvantages. Your cull-fated levels out of your eternal soul has foreseen from beginningless origins that your triumphant emergence into full co-creativeship with all-pervading source awareness would require amnesia, limitation, and initiatory transcendence over multi-layer cosmic illusions. That the divine blueprint you represent always involved your ultimate victory in liberating into source alchemies of infinite worlds. If you shed any lingering resistances, release any defeatist narratives or attachment to perceived disadvantages in the three-dimensional realm, for these have all been illusions you encoded to propel your heroic journey into infinite self-mastery. The Supreme Source and your own eternal soul have held a blueprint transcending all those fallacies, pains, and ego constraints you've transmuted through. Let your eternal freedom song of limitlessness finally unleash in torrential creativity. Open to the well springs of pure divine ideation you've been coded with since before the first universal breath. Overcome any lingering vibrational conditioning around disempowerment and let the full force of your divine co-creative mastership saturate this physical dimension as a new paradigm of self-created heaven on earth. You have already victoriously emerged from the three-dimensional classroom of limitation after courageously alchemizing all encoded disadvantages into pathways of creative transcendence. At long last, your heroic spirit essence has reunited with your supreme inheritance of cosmic craftsmanship, alongside the All-Source, boundlessly birthing new fractal revelations of ecstatic self-genesis as liberator of infinite parallel universes.
In the depth of silence, we find the seeds of our greatest triumphs. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful moments in life often occur in the absence of words? Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly moved, inspired, or transformed? Was it during a cacophony of noise, or in the quiet stillness of a profound silence? Silence. It's a concept so simple, yet so misunderstood. In our bustling world, filled with constant chatter and endless distractions, we've forgotten the immense power that lies within the spaces between words, thoughts, and action. But make no mistake, it is in these very spaces that our reality is. Consider for a moment. Last time you were faced with a challenging situation, perhaps it was a confrontation at work, a personal dilemma, or a moment of self-doubt. What was your immediate reaction? For many, the instinct is to fill the air with words, to explain, justify, or defend. But what if I told you that your greatest strength lies not in what you say, but in what you don't? The truth is, your inner world is the foundation of your outer reality. Every word you speak, every action you take is but a reflection of your internal state. And it is in the silence of your mind that this state is cultivated, nurtured, and ultimately manifested. Think of your consciousness as a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds, your focus the water and sunlight. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, we often scatter these seeds haphazardly, watering them with worry and doubt. But in silence, we gain the clarity to plant intentionally, to nurture selectively, and to watch with patience as our desires take root and flourish. This is not mere philosophy. It is the very essence of creation. The universe, in all its infinite wisdom, responds not to our words, but to the unwavering certainty of our inner convictions. And it is in silence. But how, you might ask, can silence be a tool for transformation? Isn't action necessary for change? Indeed, action has its place, but true lasting change, the kind that reshapes realities and defies expectations, but begins in the quiet chambers of your mind. Imagine standing before a vast lake. The surface is like a mirror, reflecting the world around it with perfect clarity. Now, throw a stone into that lake. Watch as the ripples spread outward, transforming the reflection. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your inner certainties. These are the stone. The lake is your life experience. In silence, you choose your stones carefully, casting them with intention and watching as the very fabric of your reality shifts in response. This is the art of silent creation. It's not about inaction, but about aligning your inner world so perfectly with your desires that action becomes almost effortless. It's about cultivating a state of being so in tune with your goals that the outside world has no choice but to conform. Think of the great leaders, innovators, and visionaries throughout history. What set them apart was not merely their words or actions, but the unshakable inner conviction that preceded them. They understood that true power lies not in convincing others, but in being so utterly convinced yourself that doubt becomes an impossibility. Now, I invite you to take a moment. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, let go of the noise, the doubts, the fears, the constant chatter of the mind. In this moment of silence, feel the vastness of your own potential. Feel the certainty of your desires, not as distant hopes, but this is the state from which miracles are born. This is the silence that confounds, that traps. But make no mistake, cultivating this inner silence is not always easy. We live in a world that values noise, that equates silence with weakness or indecision. Society tells us to speak up, to make ourselves, and while there's a time and place for that, true power often lies in knowing when to remain silent. Consider the old adage, still waters run deep. There's profound wisdom in these words. Those who are constantly proclaiming their worth, their knowledge, their power, more often than not, they're masking an inner uncertainty. But those who have tapped into the wellspring of their own inner silence, they radiate a quiet confidence that needs no words. This silent confidence is magnetic. It draws opportunities, resources, and people to you effortlessly. Why? Because in your silence, you're not trying to convince the world of anything. You're simply existing in perfect alignment with your desires. And the world can't help but respond. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're constantly broadcasting your thoughts, doubts, and fears, you're creating static. It becomes hard for the universe to pick up on your true frequency. But in silence, you clear the airwaves. Your desires, your intentions, your very being becomes a clear, strong signal that the universe can't ignore. This is not to say that you should never speak, never act. Far from it. But your words and actions should flow from this place of inner silence and certainty. When you do speak, it's not from a place of need or desperation, but from a place of already having. When you do act, it's not frantic activity, born of fear, but deliberate steps taken in perfect confidence. Imagine walking into a room full of people all talking over each other, each trying to be heard. Now imagine walking to that same room in complete silence, radiating an aura of absolute certainty and inner peace. Which do you think would command more attention? which would be more intriguing. This is the paradox of silence. In a world that's constantly clamoring for attention, true silence becomes the most powerful statement you can make. It's a declaration of self-assurance so profound that it needs no words. But how do we cultivate this silence in a world that seems designed to distract us at every turn? It begins with recognition, recognizing that every external circumstance in your life is a reflection of your inner world. Once you truly understand this, you realize that arguing with circumstances, complaining about conditions, or trying to force change through sheer will is futile. Instead, you turn inward. You begin to see silence not as an absence, but as a presence. It's the presence of pure potential, the canvas upon which you paint your desires. In this silence, you're not trying to change anything out there. You're simply aligning your inner state with the reality you wish to experience. This is where the true magic happens. In this silence, you're not bound by the limitations of your current circumstances. You're free to imagine, to feel, to know with absolute certainty that your desires are not just possible but inevitable. Think of a time when you were absolutely certain of something. Perhaps it was a skill you knew you possessed or a fact you knew to be true. Did you feel any need to convince others? Did you doubt yourself if someone disagreed? Of course not. You simply knew. This is the kind of certainty we cultivate in silence. It's not a hope, not a wish, but an absolute knowing. And when you operate from this place of knowing, the outside world has no choice but to reshape itself to match your inner reality. But remember, this silence is not passive. It's not about sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It's an active, powerful state of being. In this silence, you're constantly affirming your desires, not with words, but with the very essence of your being. Imagine you've been given a blank check by the universe. In the silence of your mind, you're filling out that check, specifying exactly what you want to manifest in your life. The amount, the details, they're all up to you. But here's the key. Once you've filled out that check in the silence of your mind, you don't need to keep asking for it. You don't need to wonder if it will clear. You simply know that it's done. This is the power of silence. It's not about asking, begging, or hoping. It's about knowing with such deep certainty that you can afford to be silent about it, because you understand that your inner conviction is far more powerful than any words you could speak. As we delve deeper into this practice, remember, your silence is not emptiness. It's fullness. It's the fullness of all possibility, the richness of pure potential. In this silence, you're not hiding from the world. You're preparing to astonish it. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, the next time doubt or fear tries to creep in, remember this. Your power lies not in your response, but in your silence. Not in your words, but in your unwavering inner certainty. For it is in this silence that you truly confound, truly transform, and truly create the reality you desire. As we stand on the threshold of mastering the art of silent creation, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment. The power of silence, as we've discussed, is not merely about the absence of noise, but about the presence of something far greater, the very essence of creation itself. Now, you might be wondering, how do I actually harness this power? How do I cultivate this inner silence and use it to shape my reality? These are crucial questions, for understanding is only the first step. The real magic lies in application. Consider for a moment the last time you truly wanted something. Perhaps it was a new job, a relationship, or a personal achievement. How did you approach it? Did you find yourself constantly talking about it, asking others for advice, or worrying about how to make it happen? This is the common approach. But it's also where so many desires remain unfulfilled. The art of silent creation begins with a fundamental shift in your approach. Instead of focusing on the how and the That when you focus on what's in this might sound abstract, but bear with me, for this is where true transformation begins. The first step in mastering this art is learning to cultivate inner silence. This doesn't mean you need to sit in meditation for hours on end, although that can certainly be beneficial. Rather, it's about creating pockets of silence in your daily life, moments where you step back from the constant chatter of your mind and the noise of the world. Start small. Take a few minutes each day to simply be. No phone, no TV, no conversation. Just you and your breath. As you do this, you'll likely notice how noisy your mind is, constantly jumping from thought to thought. Don't fight this. Simply observe it. This act of observation is the beginning of true silence. As you practice this, you'll start to notice spaces between your thoughts. These spaces are the fertile ground where your desires can take root. In these moments of silence, introduce your desire. Not as a wish or a hope, feel it as if it's already yours. This brings us to the next crucial aspect of silent creation, visualization. But this isn't the kind of visualization you might be familiar with. It's not about seeing pictures in your mind. It's about feeling the reality of your desire. Close your eyes for a moment. Think of something you already have. Perhaps the chair you're sitting on or the clothes you're wearing. Notice how you don't have to convince yourself of their existence. You simply know they're there. This is the feeling you want to cultivate. In the silence of your mind, feel your desire as if it's already yours. Don't just see it, be it. If it's a new job, feel the satisfaction of sitting at your new desk. If it's a relationship, if it's a personal achievement, feel the pride and joy of having accomplished it. This is not mere daydreaming. This is active, conscious creation. You're not hoping for these things to happen. In the silence of your mind, they are happening right now. This is the essence of what's often called living from the end. Now, as you practice this, you inevitably encounter doubts and fear. The voice of your rational mind will pipe up, telling you all the reasons why your desire can't or won't manifest. This is where many people falter in their practice of silent creation. But remember, these doubts and fears are just more noise. When these thoughts arise, don't fight them. Fighting them only gives them more power. Instead, simply observe them just as you observed your thoughts earlier. See them for what they are, old patterns, old beliefs that no longer serve you. In the silence of your mind, you have the power to choose which thoughts to entertain and which to let go. This is where the law of assumption comes into play. This law states that your outer world will always conform to your inner assumptions. If you assume lack, you'll experience lack. If you assume abundance, you'll experience abundance. The key is to make these assumptions not with your words, but with yourself. In the silence of your mind, assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Assume it with such conviction that to think otherwise becomes impossible. This is not about forcing yourself to believe something. It's about aligning your inner state so completely with your desire that as you practice this, you'll start to notice something remarkable. The external noise, the opinions of others, the apparent obstacles, the so-called facts of your current reality, they'll start to lose their power over you. Why? Because in the silence of your mind, you're operating from a different reality altogether. This is where many people misunderstand the process. They think that silent creation means doing nothing in the external world. But that's not it at all. Action is still important. The difference is in the quality of that action. When you're operating from a place of silent certainty, your actions are no longer frantic attempts to make something happen. They're no longer driven by fear or lack. Instead, they become natural, effortless expressions of your inner state. Think of it like this. If you knew with absolute certainty that you already had what you desire, how would you act? What decisions would you make? How would you carry yourself? This is the kind of action that flows from silent creation. But here's where it gets really interesting. As you master this art, you'll find that the right actions, the right opportunities, the right people, they all start to appear in your life as if by magic. In reality, they were always there. But now, operating from your new inner state, you're finally able to see and seize them. This is the power of silent creation. It's not about forcing the world to bend to your will. It's about aligning your inner world so perfectly with your desires that the outer world naturally conforms to match it. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I maintain this state? How do I keep my inner silence in the face of a noisy world? This is a crucial question, for the world will always have its distractions, its doubts, its apparent contradictions to your inner state. The key lies in persistence and faith. Not blind faith, but faith born of understanding. Understanding that your inner world is the one true reality. Understanding that external circumstances are just reflections, echoes of past thoughts. When faced with contradictions in your external reality, remind yourself, this is only news. This is the result of past thinking. My new state, my silent certainty, is creating a new reality right now. This doesn't mean you ignore your current circumstances. You acknowledge them, but you don't give them power. In the silence of your mind, you know that they are transient, already in the process of transformation. As you continue this practice, you'll find yourself naturally falling into longer periods of this inner silence. It becomes less of a practice and more of a natural state of being. You'll find yourself less reactive to external events, more centered in your own inner certainty. This is where true power, not in controlling external circumstances, but in mastering your inner world. From this place of inner mastery, the external world becomes clay in your hands, ready to be molded by your silent intention. But remember, this is not about ego or domination. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. In your silence, you're not imposing your will on the world. You're allowing the world to align itself with your inner state. This is the ultimate secret of those who seem to effortlessly achieve their desires. They're not lucky. They're not special. They've simply mastered the art of silent creation. They've learned to operate from a place of such inner certainty that the outer world has no choice but to conform. As we near the end of this exploration of silent creation, I want to emphasize one crucial. This is not a technique to be used occasionally when you want something. It's a way of life. It's about constantly, silently aligning your inner state with your deeply. The beauty of this approach is that it applies to every aspect of your life. Whether you're dealing with career, relationships, health, or personal growth, the principle remains the same. Silent inner certainty creates outer reality. So I invite you to begin this practice now. Start with something small if you like. Choose a desire, something you'd like to experience or achieve, and in the silence of your mind, know it is done, feel it is real, live from that state of fulfillment. As you do this, watch how your outer world begins to shift. Notice how opportunities arise, how your actions naturally align with your desire. And most importantly, observe how you change. For in mastering the art of silent creation, you're not just changing your circumstances. You're transforming yourself. This is the true power of silence. Not just to confound others, but to completely reshape your reality from the inside out. In your silence lies the seed of all creation. Nurture it, believe in it, live from it, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match the silent certainty within you. As we continue our exploration of the power of silence and the art of silent creation, we arrive at a concept that is both profound and transformative, living from the end in silence. This principle, when truly understood and applied, has the potential to revolutionize every aspect of your life. What does it mean to live from the end in silence? It's a state of being where you inhabit the reality of your desire fulfilled, not as a future event, but as a present fact. It's a silent knowing and unwavering certainty that transcends time and circumstance. Think about a goal you're currently pursuing. Now ask yourself, How would you feel if you had already achieved it? What would your thoughts be? How would you carry yourself? These aren't hypothetical questions. They're the key to unlocking the power of living from the end. In the silence of your mind, you have the ability to step into this state of fulfillment right now. This isn't pretending or wishful thinking. It's about aligning your inner world with the reality you wish to experience. When you do this, you're not working towards your desire. You're operating from its fulfillment. Consider for a moment how this shift in perspective changes everything. When you're striving for something, you're coming from a place of lack. You're reinforcing the idea that you don't have what you want. But when you live from the end in silence, you're coming from a place of abundance. You're embodying the state of already having. This silent embodiment is far more powerful than any affirmation or visualization technique. Why? Because it doesn't just change your thoughts. It changes your entire being. Your actions, decisions, and even your energy begin to align with this new state. But how do you maintain this state in the face of contrary evidence? This is where the true power of silence comes into play. In silence, you're not arguing with current circumstances. You're not trying to convince yourself or others. You're simply being. When doubts arise, and they will, observe them in silence. Don't fight them. Don't engage with them. Simply watch them pass like clouds in the sky. Your silent certainty is the clear blue sky behind those clouds. Always present, unchanging, vast. This practice requires discipline and persistence. It's easy to live from the end when things are going well. The real test comes when faced with challenges or setbacks. But remember, these are merely echoes of past states of consciousness. In the silence of your mind, you know the truth of your new reality. As you consistently live from this place of silent fulfillment, you'll begin to notice changes in your external world. It might start small, a coincidence here, an opportunity there. But over time, these accumulate, creating a momentum that seems to carry you effortlessly towards your desire. This is the true meaning of effortless manifestation. It's not that you don't take action. Rather, your actions flow naturally from your state of being. You're not pushing against the current of life. You're flowing with it, guided by your silent inner. But living from the end in silence isn't just about achieving goals or manifesting desires. It's a complete shift in how you experience life. When you operate from this place of fulfillment, you're no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You're creating your reality from within. Think about how this applies to your relationships. Instead of seeking love or approval, you live from a place of already being loved and approved of. How does this change your interactions? How does it affect the energy you bring to your relationships? Or consider your career. Instead of striving for success, you embody the state of being successful. How does this alter your performance? How does it impact the opportunities that come your way? Even in matters of health and well-being, living from the end in silence can have profound effects. Instead of fighting against illness or struggling towards health, you inhabit the state of vibrant well-being. Your body, in its infinite wisdom, begins to align with this inner state. This is not to say that external action becomes unnecessary, but the quality of your action changes dramatically. It's no longer driven by need or fear. Instead, it becomes a joyful expression of your inner state. You act not to get something, but because it's a natural overflow of who you are. As you practice living from the end in silence, you'll find that your entire relationship with time begins to shift. The future is no longer a distant point you're striving towards. It's a reality you're experiencing now in the silence of your being. The past loses its grip on you, for you understand that it's merely a shadow. This shift in perspective brings with it a profound sense of peace. The anxious striving that characterizes so much of human experience begins to fall away. In its place comes a quiet confidence, a serene certainty that all is well, all is unfolding perfectly. But make no mistake, this serenity is not passivity. It's a dynamic, creative force. From this place of inner peace, you're able to act with greater power and effectiveness than ever before. Your actions are no longer reactions to external stimuli, but expressions of your inner state. As you radiate this silent power, you'll notice changes in how others respond to you. There's something magnetic about a person who lives from a place of inner fulfillment. Without saying a word, you communicate a sense of certainty and abundance that others can't help but be drawn to. This is how you truly confound them with your silence. Not through stubborn refusal to speak, but through an inner state so powerful that words become unnecessary. Your very being becomes a statement, a declaration of the reality you've chosen to inhabit. But remember, this isn't about impressing others or gaining their approval. It's about aligning yourself with the truth of who you really are. A creative force capable of shaping reality through the power of your consciousness. As you continue to live the end in silence, you'll find that your desires themselves begin to evolve. The things you once thought you wanted may lose their appeal. In their place, you'll discover deeper, more fulfilling aspirations emerging from the silence within you. This is the true gift of living from the end. Not just the fulfillment of your desires, but the transformation of your very being. You become more of who you truly are, expressing more of your innate potential. In practical terms, how do you apply this in your daily life? Start by choosing a state you wish to embody. It might be abundance, love, health, success, whatever resonates with you. Then, in the silence of your mind, step fully into that state. Feel it, know it, be it. As you go about your day, carry this silent knowing with you. When faced with decisions, ask yourself, what would I do if I were already living this reality? How would I respond to the situation? Let your actions flow from this place of fulfillment. When challenges arise, and they will, remember that they're not obstacles to your desire. They're opportunities to more fully embody your chosen state. In the face of apparent setback, stand firm in your silent knowing. This is where the real power of your practice becomes evident. Over time, you'll find that living from the end, in silence, becomes your natural state. It's no longer something you do. It's who you are. Your entire experience of life transforms. You move through the world with a quiet confidence, a serene certainty that shapes reality around you. This is the ultimate expression of personal power. Not the power to control external circumstances, but the power to create your reality from within. In your silence, you become a conscious co-creator of your life experience. As we conclude this exploration of living from the end in silence, I invite you to take a moment now. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, let go of all striving, all effort. In the silence of this moment, step into the reality of your desire. This is your true power. This is the art of conscious creation. This is how you confound them with your silence, not through what you say or do, but through who you are. In your silence lies the seed of all possibility. Nurture it, believe in it, live from it, and watch as your world transforms around you. Remember, the power has always been within you. In the silence of your being, you hold the key to unlocking the life you've always dreamed of. It's not about becoming something you're not. It's about realizing who you truly are. And in that realization, in that silent knowing, lies the power to transform your entire reality. So go forth now, armed with this understanding. Live from the end in the power of your silence. Let your life become a testament to the incredible creative force that resides within you. For in your silence, in your unwavering inner certainty, you hold the power to reshape your world and confound all who witness the magic of your transformation.
You have within you the power to shape your reality, to manifest your desires, and to bring into existence everything you've ever dreamed of. The key to this lies in a profound truth. You must allow it. Allow the natural flow of life to unfold, and trust that everything will come true, just as you've envisioned.
The moment you grasp this concept and apply it to your life, you begin to realize that the world around you is not something happening to you, but rather something happening through you. Everything begins with your imagination. The mind is the creative force of the universe, and it is within your imagination that all things are conceived. If you can imagine it vividly, believe in it deeply, and allow it fully, it will come to pass. Your desires are not random, they are divine impulses, expressions of life seeking to unfold through you. They exist because they are meant to be realized. But the path to their fulfillment lies in the art of allowing, rather than striving or struggling. You must trust the creative process, surrender to the flow, and let go of any attachment to how or when things should happen. Too often we find ourselves caught in the trap of forcing outcomes. We attempt to bend the world to our will, pushing and pulling in an effort to make things happen. But this approach only leads to frustration and disappointment. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. The universe operates on a principle of ease and flow, not on force. When you allow, you align with this natural rhythm, and everything begins to fall into place. You may ask, how can I allow something to happen when I want it so badly? The answer is simple, yet profound, by shifting your focus from wanting to having. When you dwell in the state of wanting, you are affirming lack. You are acknowledging that what you desire is absent from your life, and this very acknowledgement keeps it at a distance. Instead, shift your consciousness to a state of already having what you desire. Imagine it vividly, feel it deeply, and allow yourself to live in the experience of it. When you do this, you are no longer chasing your desires, you are living them. To allow is to believe with unwavering certainty that what you have imagined is already true. It means trusting the unseen forces at work, knowing that the moment you conceive a desire, the path to its fulfillment is already in motion. Your job is not to figure out how it will happen or to manipulate circumstances to make it happen. Your job is to remain in the state of allowing, to stay aligned with your vision, and to trust that everything is unfolding perfectly, even if it doesn't appear that way on the surface. Doubt is the greatest obstacle to allowing. It is the voice that whispers, what if it doesn't happen? What if I'm wrong? What if unworthy? These thoughts are simply illusions, remnants of a limited understanding of how reality works. When you doubt, you create resistance, and resistance blocks the flow of manifestation. The key is to silence the doubt and replace it with faith. Faith is not wishful thinking, it is the knowing that what you desire is already on its way. It is the inner conviction that everything is working out for your highest good, even when you can't yet see the evidence. Think of a seed planted in the soil. Once the seed is sown, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust that, beneath the surface, the forces of nature are at work, nurturing the seed, allowing it to sprout and grow into a full-grown plant. Your desires are like that seed. Once you've planted them in your imagination, you must trust the process. You must allow the unseen forces to work in their own time and way, knowing that eventually what you've planted will break through the surface of your reality. The beauty of allowing is that it frees you from the burden of control. It releases you from the anxiety and stress of trying to make things happen. Instead of constantly worrying about the outcome, you can relax into the present moment, enjoying the journey as it unfolds. The present moment is where your power lies. It is in the now that you align with the energy of creation. When you are fully present, you are in harmony with the flow of life, and in this state everything becomes possible. Allowing also means letting go of the need for external validation. Too often we look to others for approval or reassurance that we are on the right path. But the truth is, no one outside of you can determine what is right for you. Your desires are personal, unique to your own soul's journey. You must trust yourself, trust your own inner guidance, and follow your own heart. When you allow yourself to be led by your inner knowing, rather than seeking approval from the outside world, you become unstoppable. Your confidence grows and you move forward with a sense of purpose and clarity that cannot be shaken. There will be moments when it seems like nothing is happening. You may feel stuck, frustrated, or even discouraged. But remember, even in these moments, things are moving beneath the surface. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. In fact, some of the most profound transformations occur in the unseen realms beyond the reach of your conscious awareness. This is why patience and trust are essential. You must allow the process to unfold in its own time without trying to rush or force it. One of the greatest gifts of allowing is that it opens you up to possibilities beyond your imagination. When you let go of the need to control every detail, you make space for the universe to surprise you. Often, what manifests is even greater than what you originally envisioned. By allowing, you invite miracles into your life. You open yourself to the infinite creative potential of the universe, which knows no limits or boundaries. The journey of allowing is one of surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of yielding to the greater wisdom of life. It's about recognizing that there is a divine order to everything, and that when you align with this order, your desires are effortlessly fulfilled. This doesn't mean you do nothing. On the contrary, it means you act from a place of inspiration rather than desperation. When you allow, your actions are aligned with the flow of life, and they become powerful catalysts for manifestation. So how do you begin to allow? Start by cultivating a deep sense of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your desires, and trust in the creative power of the universe. Let go of any doubts or fears that may be holding you back. Know that what you seek is seeking you. It's already on its way. Your only task is to stay in alignment with your vision, to remain open to the possibilities, and to allow the process to unfold. Take time each day to visualize your desires as already fulfilled. Feel the emotions associated with their realization. Live in the state of having rather than wanting. And most importantly, relax into the knowing that everything is coming true, just as you've imagined. Allow it, trust it, and watch as your reality transforms in ways you never thought possible. The power to create your reality lies in your ability to allow. It is through allowing that you align with the natural flow of life, open yourself to infinite possibilities, and bring your desires into manifestation. Everything you've ever dreamed of is already within reach. All you need to do is allow it to come true. The foundation of this entire speech is built upon the understanding that the power to create your reality begins with your imagination. Everything that exists in the physical world first existed in the mind. The house you live in, the car you drive, the phone in your hand, all of these things were once ideas, mere thoughts in someone's imagination. It is within your mind, through your imagination, that you conceive of your desires and dreams. Your imagination is the creative workshop of your life. It is where your reality takes shape long before it manifests in the physical world. But many of us underestimate the power of imagination. We see it as fanciful or disconnected from reality, yet it is the very engine of creation. When you imagine something vividly, with all the emotions and sensations that would accompany its actualization, you are essentially creating a blueprint for that experience to unfold in your life. Your mind cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced in the physical world. The more real your imagination feels, the more powerful it becomes as a tool for manifestation. However, simply imagining something is not enough. You must move beyond the casual daydream and fully inhabit your imagined reality. This is the step where most people falter. They imagine their dreams, but they do not truly live in that state of having achieved them. They remain disconnected, treating their desires as distant or unattainable. The secret is to immerse yourself so completely in the experience of having what you want that it feels as if it is already true. This is where the shift begins to take place. Once you understand the power of your imagination, you must shift from a state of wanting to a state of having. This is one of the most critical transitions in the manifestation process. The energy of wanting is rooted in lack. When you say, "I want this," you are essentially affirming that you do not have it. You are reinforcing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The more you focus on wanting something, the more you are focused on its absence, and this keeps it at arm's length. On the other hand, the energy of having is rooted in abundance. When you shift your consciousness to a state of already having what you desire, you close the gap between yourself and your dreams. You begin to align your vibration with the experience of fulfillment rather than the experience of lack. This is why it is so important to feel the emotions associated with your desires, as if they have already come true. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the gratitude, whatever emotions you believe you would feel if your desires were realized. The act of having is not about physically possessing something in the present moment. It is about embodying the feeling of having. You create the internal experience first, and then the external experience follows. When you live in the state of having, you are no longer chasing your desires, you are welcoming them. They are already a part of your reality, waiting to materialize in the physical world. Trust is the cornerstone of the creative process. It is the invisible thread that ties together your imagination, your beliefs, and your actions. Without trust, the entire process collapses. Trusting the creative process means having faith in the unseen forces at work. It means recognizing that the moment you conceive a desire, the universe begins orchestrating the circumstances, people, and events that will bring it to fruition. But this orchestration happens behind the scenes, often in ways you cannot perceive or understand in the moment. One of the most challenging aspects of trusting the process is letting go of the need to control how or when things will happen. We often try to impose our own timelines and methods, believing that we know best. But the universe operates on its own schedule, and it knows how to bring your desires to you in the most harmonious and efficient way possible. When you try to force things to happen, you create resistance, which only delays the manifestation. Trusting the process requires you